Hello, my name is Max. I've been doing yoga and meditation for more than 2.5 years. My life has changed a lot since then, and I want to share the inspirations that have occurred to me. First, what is meditation? Meditation is concentration on a very positive idea. Perhaps you have watched the film The Secret or read some books which tell you that our thoughts are material and we attract events, things, and people to our lives with the help of our thoughts. And meditation is associated with this process. The main principle of meditation is what you think about is what you become. So, if we concentrate on the positive moments in life, we have more positive moments in life. If we get annoyed, complain about something all the time, then a person meets it more and more in life. A yogi meditates not on some material object, such as in the film The Secret, that is, we do not think a car, a car, a car. We concentrate on some infinite, endless idea. For example, love is everything that exists. And we profoundly think what love is. How is it to feel love that fills the whole space, the complete material world? How am I love? How is it my thoughts are love too? And you concentrate profoundly on this idea. If you just logically try to understand what love is, for example, like I'm speaking now, I try to perceive information from different places. I see with my eyes, I hear my voice, I move, and my brain cannot concentrate very profoundly and understand this idea. So I just have a logical understanding of this idea, what is love. But if I sit down to meditate, I close all external sources of information, I close my eyes, I abstract from my body, I abstract from this room, and I begin to dive deeply and deeply into myself and pronounce a mantra. In fact, this is a bridge between words and deep understanding. And I concentrate on this idea, everything is love. How can it be that everything is love? My thought is love. Everything in this world is love. Then it turns out to be a completely different level of perception, not the same one as at the logical level. Now I will tell you what happened to me thanks to meditation in my life. The first thing I noticed was that I was able to change myself in a much easier way than if you simply do not meditate. When we meditate, we gradually take control of our mind programs. We all do the same programs as robots and do not even notice it. That is, some impulse comes from the outside and we react, and we are not able to change these programs if we are not engaged in reprogramming ourselves. Meditation allows us to take our character under control and make it very flexible so that we can influence some of our habits ourselves. For example, I previously could not refuse myself not to argue with someone. If I saw that the other person was wrong, I simply had to start an argument with him and start proving to him because I was right and he was wrong. In fact, it is a negative inclination of the mind that disturbs to live. The yogi takes these inclinations and transforms them so that he can control them. Suppose that I imagine such a sphere of influence around me, such a balloon around me, and this tendency to dispute was beyond my control. After I began to meditate, it gradually began to move into my control zone. And now, when a similar situation occurs, I always have a choice. I look at it from the side, that is, I do not react automatically. Now I have a choice. Do it one or another way. Thus, any of our mind inclinations, for example, greed, tendency to dispute, indulgence, or aggression, irritability, These are all our problems that are in our mind, and we have the ability to take control of them through meditation. If a person starts meditating, eventually he will be able to overcome, for example, irritability. Suppose he drives a car, drives along the roads, and he thinks, oh, what drivers are they all? They bought the driving licenses and don't know how to drive. He constantly repeats this thought, repeats and gets annoyed. And maybe he even understands that he does not do well, but he simply cannot change himself. It just makes him angry. He does not control himself. Meditation will help him change that. Or a person indulges himself and he is not able to deny himself. For example, he adores sweets and cannot do anything about it. Whenever it is possible, he visits a friend when he is given a chocolate bar, and he knows that he does not need it. He tries not to buy them, but when such an opportunity arises, he eats them. He is simply not able to refuse himself. Meditation will allow a person to change. The next thing I noticed is that my plans gradually began to come true. Before meditation, for several years, I had been planning my life. I set goals for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, for several years in advance. And when the time came to check if I fulfilled my goal or not, I realized that no, nothing happened. Again, I planned and set my goals, and it happened repeatedly, but my life did not change. I tried different techniques, but the time came and it was as if the circumstances were out of my power. Meditation gives you energy so that you are capable of achieving your goals. If you don't have this energy, then you can beat against the wall, but nothing will change. You try to get a good job, you tried one, then the second, the third, and you think, well, when will this change already? And you can't do anything about it. But if you meditate, it will give you energy, and your long-term plans will start to come true. I noticed this in my life. I began to meditate, and gradually, out of 10 goals, 1 goal is fulfilled, and 2 goals are fulfilled. This is a result already. Then the completion percentage was gradually more and more. Now I understand that with the proper level of practice, you will in fact be able to control your life completely. That is, you planned for 10 years ahead, created a super cool dream, and it will happen to you if you get spiritual energy through meditation. In the morning and in the evening, you sit down, meditate, and that's it. Magic happens in your life around you. You will find people, and you will find opportunities for all your plans to come true. The third, and probably the smallest thing, with such a small effect, which surprised me literally in the first days. I always fell asleep after about 20 or 30 or 40 minutes, or sometimes even an hour. So I went to bed, I had to turn from one side to another, and only then I had the opportunity to fall asleep. When I began to meditate, literally in the first evening, I sat down to meditate as it should. My whole body was squished, it was very hard for me. My back started to get tired very quickly. Literally, I sat for a few minutes and realized that it was very difficult to hold the lower back. Muscles got tired very quickly. And when 10 or 15 minutes of my first meditation ended, either my alarm clock rang or something else happened, but somehow I realized that it was over. I immediately went to bed, and this was a huge relief for me. I lay down and felt that my back, which had been tense all this time, was now relaxed. I felt warmness all over my body. I felt such a powerful relaxation. I just relaxed and fell asleep in the first few minutes. The next day, the same thing happened, and so it happened the first 10 days. Then my back got stronger, I stopped noticing this effect. Since then I've fallen asleep very quickly. It was a very small effect, the biggest effect of meditation, and for which I am very grateful to meditation, is that I have the opportunity to receive happiness of a higher level than we are used to. What I'm saying now will probably be confusing to many people because personally I have never experienced anything like this before meditating. Basically, we experience two levels of happiness, the physical level and the mental level. To the physical level of happiness belongs, for example, a tasty meal, you are happy and you feel good. Or you got enough sleep, got up, and you feel very good. Or sexual pleasure is also a physical level. Then there is the mental level. For example, if we read a book, we are involved, our mind gets pleasure. Or we watch a movie, we are captured by the events that take place there. Playing computer games is also a mental level of pleasure. We play a musical instrument. Or, for example, when we are loved, or we win recognition from the public. It all happens at the level of our mind. And I personally imagined that the meaning of life and the maximum satisfaction in life was to be rich, happy and healthy, have a family, be famous, successful, and that you won recognition from the public and you did some good things. It turns out that this level of pleasure is at the level of the mind. When I started meditating, I felt that there was a new sphere in general, some other dimension. We had 2D, now we have a third dimension, and this is a spiritual level of pleasure. When you are deeply immersed into the idea, you begin to feel such high emotions that are inaccessible just in your usual state. Something between a psychic and spiritual level, probably. This is when you read poetry or write, perhaps, or write music, and you have such inspiration that you are ready to forget about your body, ready to forget about everything and enjoy this wave which carries you. The spiritual level is even higher than even creativity. Therefore, when such moments occur, they do not happen very often, not every day, but when this happens, I start to feel. And I think, wow, how great it is. Why do so few people in the world have the opportunity to experience this? I think that if I had not met meditation, I would probably not have experienced anything in my whole life. I would have lived this way all my life, and the maximum that I thought about happiness was wealth, health, and the other things I mentioned. The fifth thing is probably also very important. I had a complete picture of the world and the worldview. Before that, I was looking for answers to important life questions. Who am I? What is the sense of my life? How can I manage this reality? Why are some people born poor in bad conditions and other people born rich? Why are some people happy and others unhappy? I searched for answers in different books about psychology, philosophy, esotericism. I'd been reading Carlos Castaneda for some time, and I'd been studying transurfing. There was time when I operated the book The Subconsciousness Can Do Anything, and there were many things, Napoleon Hill, Jack Canfield, and so on. Probably if I list them all, there will be more than a dozen authors and more than 10 philosophies. But I started to practice. It took some time, 6 months or a year. I understood that there is some imperfection in this philosophy, about 10 to 20%, and I did not agree with this. And I did not have the understanding of some particular concept of life, of a worldview. It was just all stuffed with everything. And somewhere something worked, somewhere something did not work. When I saw the project Meditation Lessons, thanks to which I got acquainted with meditation generally, meditationstep.org, I watched a few videos and my eyes just opened. And I received answers to all my questions. Everything I did not understand, why it did not fit there, everything was perfectly formed in this picture, in yoga philosophy. I believe that it is very important that a person should have such a worldview that answers his main questions, Because if a person does not have any solid concept in his head, then when something bad happens in life, when a person meets some difficulty or depression occurs to him, or something happens that knocks him out of a rut, then he plunges into some kind of desperate state, despondency for a long time. He does not understand. Why is this happening? What did I do? Why does that happen to me? Why am I suffering? Why is that man all right and I feel very bad? And you are not able to act at such moments if you do not have any philosophy that guides you. If you have such a philosophy, then at the most critical moment in life, for example, from the point of view of yoga, something bad happens. For example, you were robbed and you are upset. You have lost it all. You counted on something. Or some accident happens. The yogi thinks, yes, this is my karma. Well, I have burned negative karma. This is the ideal yogi thinking. I burned my negative karma. Now I need to go through less suffering in life. So any suffering, any pleasure that we experience, we have a supply of it. Therefore, when something bad happens to us, in fact, it does not happen without a trace. So we have a level of problems that we will experience in life. It decreases. I don't know how to explain it more clearly. Sorry for my not very clear words. Thus, a person with such a philosophy can easily work and experience difficulties for the sake of his well-being and for the welfare of others. For example, we wake up early in the morning, go and strengthen ourselves. For example, pour ourselves with cold water. And this is also a level of suffering, but it is better to experience suffering in this form, in the form that you strengthen yourself, in the form that you get up early and sit down to meditate, and you find it hard and want to finish already, and you in fact experience the suffering. Or you run in the morning, you also need to overcome some difficulties in order to lift yourself up and force yourself to go if there is not enough motivation. But the suffering, which will replace your suffering of another kind, that is, you could either get sick, for example, or do something for your health, and at the same time experience something of a certain level of pain, but remain healthy. I don't know if this concept is understandable, I hope it is. I'll give you two interesting examples that I found on the internet, and which describe meditation from the scientific point of view. The first experiment took place with smokers, and it was to show how much meditation would affect their smoking addiction. For 2 weeks, the experimental group spent about 5 hours in total on trainings and meditations. So they meditated for 20-30 minutes a day maximum. During this time, their consumption of cigarettes decreased by 60%. And those people who participated in the experiment, they didn't even know what the essence of the experiment was. They simply came to the trainings and meditated. But scientists have found that their addiction to smoking has declined more than twice. This is just 2 weeks. I met this post in the group on meditationsteps.org. This experiment was described there, and in the comments I met several people who said, yes, the same thing happened to me. Just 2 weeks later I gave up smoking, though all my life I tried to give up and I did not succeed. Several people wrote that only with the help of meditation they managed to overcome this addiction, and they are very grateful. It shows that meditation weakens our bad habits. In fact, what I had told about the ability to control our inclinations of the mind, meditation gives us this opportunity. Another experiment, more like a study, was conducted by a single person, an entrepreneur from Russia, quite a successful man. He spent more than $200,000 to study his health to the maximum. He tested food, various products, he tested his sleep, he changed his exercise habits, he tried all sorts of supplements to maintain his condition. So he had been conducting his experiment for 4 to 5 years. He passed more than 1,000 tests, studied everything possible concerning his health. He published a great article which lists hundreds of parameters of his body. And what was interesting that maybe 70% of his conclusions are related to our project, a healthy yogic lifestyle. He also meditated daily, saying that he was not a religious person, just all the practices and habits of a healthy lifestyle that he introduced into his life must be scientifically proven. They must have some official sources, confirmed data. He does not take any logical concepts and does not try them. He does everything only in accordance with science. The most important thing about meditation I heard on the first day. I thought that I should take it seriously, and I am actually grateful that I paid attention to it, and I recommend doing the same thing to you now, because the success of meditation depends on it, whether it brings you tremendous treasures on a silver plate, or you just try it as another technique and continue your search for happiness in life, getting rid of some problems and so on. What have I heard in this first video? I have heard that you need to meditate regularly, twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. Regularly means without gaps, it means without excuses. So, in whatever state of health you may be, no matter how much time you have or in what emotional state you are, you, despite all the conditions, you sit down and meditate. If you can't meditate for 10 minutes, you can do it for 2 minutes. If you cannot meditate sitting in the lotus position, you can do this sitting on a chair or even lying down. I remember that as soon as I began to meditate, sometime later I had various difficulties in life. I went to hospital, I had an operation, and I continued to meditate despite the fact that I wasn't allowed to get up for 24 hours. But I knew that I could meditate in any conditions. So I was lying down meditating in the morning and in the evening. Then I traveled by train, but the train is generally an easy place, or a plane is also an easy place. Even if you're on the road somewhere, even if you have overslept and you need to get to work urgently, you always have a few minutes to not miss and do your meditation. This is important because our behavior is controlled by our mood. If we have a bad mood, then we do not want to do something, and we usually do not. For example, there is no mood to go to the gym, and I will not go to the gym. So you have no responsibility, and you do not have an unshakable rule. But with meditation, it won't work that way. So if you miss it once, you will miss it twice a week, and then you will simply give up, and it won't give you any tangible effect in life. If you have a rule, 100% guaranteed, you transform your life in the most magical and miraculous way. I am 100% sure of this because I checked it on myself, and I heard from many people who meditate regularly. Dada, who practices in the Philippines and where I studied, said that meditation is a must-have regular practice. If you miss it, you lose a lot. I also read books about success a long time ago. One of them was called The Principles of Success, and there was such a principle. It is easier to follow the rule 100% than 99%. If you can't help but eat sweets, for example, there was an example. You sometimes allow yourself to eat sweets and you're on a diet, but when you come to a birthday party where you're offered a cake, you eat this cake and then you have the whole your diet destroyed. There was an example that one person came to a birthday party and he refused the cake and said, "Why should I do so? I follow the rule 100%. Why should I make any exceptions? This is my health." So I noticed in my life that it is easier to do this without exceptions than have some exceptions, mind tricks, because it will make our mind choose to go here or go there. When there is such a doubt, then your mind is weak. When you have no doubts, you decide, and you do. Then you will achieve success in life, in all fields. It is also interesting, I've just recently thought, what were my regular lifelong habits that I used to do every day? I realized that the only habit I had was that I brushed my teeth in the mornings and in the evenings. And in fact, I didn't do something ongoing regularly anymore. Then I began to meditate, and I had a second habit. Now I have two of them, or at least two. What I still liked very much about meditation is that before I couldn't ever start a new life and keep it going for a long time. Suppose I thought that I would never get upset in my life, but a week passed and I fell into depression again. Or I thought, now I do exercises every day without exceptions. I did for a month, 2 months maximum. Then suppose I fell ill, I missed, and that's all. Again, I lost this practice. But meditation, this was a real turning point in my life. Because I started a new life, and I decided that my new life began, and then it went on. This is due to regularity. This is very important, and please take it very seriously. There are thousands types of meditation, and everything that you find on the internet can be divided mainly into two categories, either meditation or relaxation. If this is relaxation, then it is not recommended for a yogi regularly. What is relaxation? Relaxation is when you turn on the music, relax, do it lying down or in a comfortable chair, or you listen to some voice that dictates to you and says, now you feel better, now you feel how your whole body is relaxed. With this voice, you are told what you need to imagine. We must control our mind ourselves and develop it, so we should train the muscle of our mind. To do this, we must concentrate on something ourselves and be independently active in this process. So, for a start, as a relaxation in the evening, you can listen to some guided meditation several times. But for regular practice in the morning and in the evening, relaxation is not a recommended way. Then there is a normal meditation, where you do the technique yourself. But there are things that are not recommended for practice without the guidance of an experienced mentor. For example, you can find some meditations on the chakras, you can find pranayamas or some techniques of raising the kundalini, but they are unsafe without the guidance of a tutor. Even if you go somewhere to a yoga studio and practice pranayama there, our meditation system does not recommend doing this, because if you don't have a personal tutor who knows your level of development, who monitors you, and who understands whether you are ready for this lesson of meditation or not, then you can practice it and you can even get some energy, but it is likely that you will spend this energy not on some good things, but on some bad things. In other words, you will be egoistic, or you will be very proud of that you have become stronger or have achieved some effects. So I will teach you the meditation technique that does not require a personal guidance of a tutor, and it is safe. It's suitable for all people and has no negative side effects.